What up is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We are back here going through injuries, players that did super well, players that did really bad. Are we buying? Are we selling? What are we doing with some of these players? This is a crucial point. This is after week 7, so teams are either going to be 5-2, 4-3, 3-4. It's super important at this point to make these fine tweaks and moves, especially even if you're 5-2. These are times to maybe, okay, like I can sacrifice potentially losing a game or two to better myself for the playoffs. So buying low on some of these candidates. But injuries. Let's start off with injuries. Josh Jacobs left with a chest injury. It said that he avoided probably major injury through that, so we don't know if he's going to be back next week, but Kenyon Drake would be an option. Same with Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders left with an ankle injury. His might be more severe. When we talk about ankle injuries, those things, again, take a couple of weeks, unless you're Joe Mixon, who comes back pretty much next week, but this could be a multi-week issue, and if it is, Kenneth Gainwell is the guy. Even though you saw Boston Scott run in a touchdown at the 1-yard line, which probably infuriated any of the Kenneth Gainwell owners, but might actually give you a chance to get him, because they might say, hey, Boston Scott's going to be the guy. Boston Scott's not going to be the guy. He is, in fact, pretty much, at this point, even it would have to take so much for me to actually own Boston Scott. Kenneth Gainwell will have to get hurt, and all of a sudden Hurts would have to trust one of his running backs. If I'm picking one or the other, we have to see how bad Jacobs' injury is. If Jacobs is back, then it's clearly going to be Gainwell over Drake. But if Jacobs is rumored to be out next week or any future weeks, Drake over Gainwell, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes did not go through concussion protocol, and so I guess Patrick Mahomes is fine. We'll see. Sometimes concussion symptoms can happen a day, 2 days later. So right at this point, we're just going to kind of hold off, but I mean, have a backup option here. Chubb and Waller, those are guys that were out this previous week, and they are supposed to be back, or at least rumors are at least Chubb is supposed to be back for week 8. They gave him the extra 10 days, which was smart. And then Darren Waller, we think he's going to be back with his ankle injury. He tried to test it in pre-games, just didn't seem to be it. All right, we're going to go through some big guys. We're going to go through the big winners, the big losers of week 7. Let's start off with some duos here. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, 8 for 201 and 1 for Chase, which is incredible against Baltimore's defense, who was okay. Burrow had 416 and 3. This is after the Ravens just dismantled Herbert and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. There's one thing I will have to say. Jamar Chase was my 1A when it came to wide receiver evaluation. When it came to it, at this point, I feel like having even the arguments of having Devonta Smith near it was a mistake. Because Jamar Chase is good at slant route, he's good at a 9 route, and he's not just good, he's amazing at those two things. And his connection with Joe Burrow is incredible. Right now, Devonta Smith is stuck with the Hurts just issue. I mean, is Hurts going to be the long-term quarterback there? We don't know. And even if he's not, who's the better option? You're going to have another rookie there? Are you going to trade for the Eagles? Best situation for Devonta Smith is if they trade for Deshaun Watson and Deshaun Watson plays. That's two big ifs. And so right now, Devonta Smith is clearly my number 2, way behind Jamar Chase at this point. And I did not think that gap would be that big. But 8 for 201 and 1, we have to just give him props where it is. Right now, he's I believe number 1 in receiving yards in the entire league. If not, it was close. I saw it was a graphic in the NFL and it said number 1, but I think that was before Cooper Kupp and probably before Debo played, and both of those were up there too. So I mean, who cares if he's 3rd, 4th, like top 3? I mean, that is still an incredible season. I mean, 201 yards. Whew. And Burrow 416 and 3. He just shows that he's a consistent QB2 with QB1 upside at these certain weeks. He's going to be the kind of Kirk Cousins-ish, like QB12-ish, I think, at least this year. And maybe it gets a little bit better down the road, but that's just kind of how it is. I mean, he doesn't run a ton. He's mobile within the pocket, but that's just my fantasy, I guess, of what I believe in him. Brady Evans, I believe 4 for Brady, 3 for Evans, even though Evans giving away all the touchdown balls to the fans, which is a whole different predicament. Man, 500, they said that ball could be up worth $500,000, and that guy gave it away for a lot less. I don't remember exactly what he got, if he got a signed jersey. it was a couple other things. I mean, about $500,000 is the estimated value. And even if it's $200,000, imagine that. You get literally a guy, Mike Evans, gives you a lottery ticket that is a winner, and you immediately have to decide, how much do I sell for? Do I want to be a dick? Do I not want to be a dick? But ultimately, that could have changed. It could have been tuition for his kids, like going to college. It is crazy what that could have been for. Cooper Kupp, 10 for 156 and 2. I can't. He is the wide receiver 1 this year. He's done this before, but it just seems when you're getting 13-ish targets a game, he's becoming the Devonta Adams type, where you are just target monster on a really, really good offense. And they believe a little bit in Woods. They believe a little bit in Van Jefferson, but it seems like, and it's frustrating because I was against Kupp a lot this week. And I was like, just throw it to somebody else. And there was no other games on that were good. So it was all watching the Rams and just watching the death of Cooper Kupp. Watch the death of my team going against Cooper Kupp and just going, I have Woods and Henderson. Can you please give it to them? And they didn't. They just kept giving it to Cooper Kupp. Ernest Johnson, we do have to give him props, 22 for 146 and 1. It'll be interesting. I still believe that Felton could be the better long-term decision, but Ernest did really do well for his showing, basically, you could say, his 1 week. And we knew that the 1 week, I told you, 1 week fill-in, you need Ernest. If you want long-term season, I think Demetric Felton still is going to be the better pass-catching option, but I mean, 22 for 146 may have played himself for more playing time here, even if Chubb is back to health. I think that could be an issue for Demetric Felton owners. Do they give Ernest another game or two, kind of split with Chubb, and all of a sudden you don't get to see the Felton thing until it would be almost too late? Let's see, what did I write there? Oh, big games by Swift, and I don't even know what that is. McLaurin, I can't even read what I wrote there. Swift, A.J. Brown. I just wrote Brown, and I was like, what? There's Marquise Brown, and he didn't do that great. I mean, he did okay. A.J. Brown, McLaurin, so it was good to see A.J. Brown back doing well, even though he was battling some stomach stuff. But DeAndre Swift, again, hey, I told you, I thought that what DeAndre Swift was going to do is what J.K. Dobbins was going to do. So these two running backs who I loved, and they were top 10 running backs in my dynasty, there's a good reason for it. I mean, I loved Zeke and stuff, but I had him below the beginning of the season before J.K. Dobbins' injury. I had him below J.K. and DeAndre Swift, and now I own both of them in the Dynasty Dads leagues. Whoop! It's nice having Swift, just because he's such a young running back, and I think he's not as good as Jonathan Taylor, but I mean he can score fantasy points up there, and that's nice to have. Some stinkers: Darrell Henderson, 15 for 45. Gibson, 14 for 51. Henderson, I'm not worried about. Gibson is a little bit of a worry here. I saw a lot of J.D. McKissic in this game, and I just think that Washington, especially right now, is just going to be down in some games. And if they're down, they're just not. You're going to see a lot of 14 to 16 touch Gibson, and you're hoping for a touchdown, but it seems like Tyler Heineke's now running it, which is the frustration with Hurts, too. Hurts steals touchdowns from Miles Sanders, and now Taylor Heineke, with his mobility for now, is kind of taking touchdowns away from Gibson, or even they ran one with McKissic a couple weeks ago, which is just going to be, you're going to see, I think, more frustrating games from Antonio Gibson. And right now, I love Gibson. I thought he was going to be a top 10 running back this year, and right now, I'm actually going to put him outside the top 10. This is a little bit of a worry here for me. Miles Sanders, 6 for 30. Got hurt. I mean, that's what the point of it is. I mean, I had a decision between Gibson and Miles Sanders in the league, and at first I was regretting, after the Gibson game played, I was like, man, I'm regretting this. Miles Sanders is the guy, but he got hurt, and that's Eagles running backs are just going to be a frustrating mess. But Kenneth Gainwell, if he gets the whole backfield to himself for a week or two, might be an interesting play. A.J. Dillon, 6 yards, fumble. Disappointing. And you could say Aaron Jones, 19 yards rushing. Also a disappointment. This game, they attacked him through the air. It was kind of a weird game. I felt like Green Bay never had the ball because I felt like they just didn't. And then I felt Washington kept having the ball, but they just kept screwing up. Or the knee down by Heineke at the 1, and then he reaches, but they call it not a touchdown there. And they just made some mistakes. Washington made what bad football teams do. They made mistakes that lost them the football game, or at least made them competitive in the football game. I mean, that's what happens. Brandon Cooks, 5 for 21. He's still the target guy, had 7 targets. I'm not really worried about him. I'm hoping Tyrod Taylor comes back soon, though, because I think that connection was doing well. Allen Robinson, 2 for 16. And this, I told you. That's all I got to say, is I told you for the last 2-3 weeks that you need to bench Allen Robinson. And for those who have not, they have seen a very, very... They've seen Khalil, whatever his name, Raymond, score over 100 yards receiving versus Mr. Allen Robinson. And so that... If there's anything I've been right on lately, Allen Robinson is, in Dynasty, is still a buy. In fact, I just bought him in the Dynasty Dad's League because age and potential opportunity down the road. He is maybe he signs somewhere else. I'm hoping he does. Hoping he goes somewhere. And I don't know, I haven't looked at what potential possibilities or options are out there, but I would love for him to go somewhere else. Just anywhere else. And maybe Fields actually gets better throughout the year. We'll see. But, man, that offensive line stinks. And then he just got pounded in Tampa Bay's defense. I felt bad for Fields. I mean, he literally looked like he wanted to cry. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback look so humiliated and everything like that. My wrong call of the week, I guess you could say, right? My bad call. There's always... You never can get everything perfect in fantasy football. And if you did, you'd just be playing Dynasty, or you'd be playing daily fantasy football, and you'd probably just be winning thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. But this was my bad call of the week. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 0 catches, 0 yards, a freaking donuts. Khalil Raymond had over 100 yards. It makes me upset because, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown was supposed to be good. Like, what the heck, Amon? And Detroit moved the ball surprisingly well against the Rams defense. Hawkinson had an game. Khalil Raymond did really good, or did decent. I will just say good. And then DeAndre Swift was a monster. Baltimore defense let up 41 points. I mean, Burrow and Chase just destroyed them. A lot of times, if you have negative points in defenses, just let you know, probably had negative there. And the last two, why I just wrote, I gotta figure out who that is. I wrote initials. Well, Ruggs is one of them. Ruggs for 4 for 31. What did I write? Somebody had 2 catches for 23 yards. Initials BJ. Who would that be? Whatever they were a disappointment. Ruggs was a disappointment, 4 for 31. He's a big play guy. He's going to be a Mecole Hardman plus, basically, where you're going to have games that he's going to be like this, 4 for 23, and you're going to have games where he's going to have 100 yards and a touchdown. He's going to have a big, huge bomb play. So this is the beginning stuff. We're going to do waivers tomorrow. So I'm excited to see what we got, and especially in the injury realm, too. That'll be very, very important and intriguing to see what happens with some of these injuries and how extensive they truly are. All right? So this is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Now turn up.